Welcome, ladies and gents, to the homework walkthrough for lesson 1.1.1. The lesson title for this is called, What Does This Representation Tell Me? You're going to want to open up your ebooks or you're going to want to open up your textbook. You can see me on the screen getting into my ebook now. If you are using your actual textbook because you have it at home with you, or with you right now, you're going to want to turn to page 6. That's where the review preview is on. If you're using the ebook, you're going to click into chapter 1 and go to the first lesson, 1.1.1. What does this representation tell me? And you're going to want to scroll all the way down to the review and preview section here. Okay? There's two parts to this homework assignment. Okay? Part 1 and Part 2 are both a mathography. Part 1, you're going to provide some personal data. Okay, as you can see, it says that right here, some personal data. And your math history. Okay, you do have a resource page that is going to help you with this. Okay, so the resource page, if you're on the ebook, say you forgot it, and you need to take a good look at that resource page, you can click on it right here, or you should have it in front of you. So let's take a look at what that resource page looks like. These first two sections, this personal data section and also the math history section, are part of Part A, Part 1, okay, of mathography. They go with question 1-3 in your textbook that says mathography Part 1. Okay? Basically what it says is, a mathography is a lot like your life history, except that it focuses on mathematics in your life. On the first page of the lesson 1.1.1b resource page, answer the questions about yourself and your experiences with mathematics. Okay, so let's take a look at this resource page. Here it says, read the instructions for your personal data section and write down a few planning ideas, but you're going to want to answer it mostly on a separate piece of paper. So first we're going to look at your personal data. And in case you're not familiar with this over here, these are my SMART tools. As I record these videos, I like to use my SMART tools in order to draw attention to certain areas that we're talking about. So the very first thing that you're going to want to do for Part 1 is answer some personal data questions. So basically what you need to do is you need to tell your teacher about yourself. Tell us about you. You may wish to include things like how many siblings you have, people you live with, sports you enjoy, favorite subjects in school, hobbies, and other topics you like. This is the first paper you are going to turn in to your teacher. Be sure to use your best writing skills. You can use the lines below to list your ideas, but your full response should be on a separate piece of paper in your math notebook. What I would suggest doing is, if you are using this YouTube video to have this be read to you, or just for a general walkthrough, feel free to pause my video at any time, because I am going to move on to reading your math history portion of the next part. So you'll be able to follow along at that point. So if you do plan to pause and work on your personal data response, please do so, and then click play again when you're ready to move on to math history. The next section is going to be your math history, okay? Right here. It says, do you remember your kindergarten teacher? How about first grade? Take a moment to recall as much as you can about each grade you have had so far. Use what you remember to fill in the tables. You may be asked to add to your tables and graph at the end of this year. Use a scale from 1 being the lowest to 10 being the highest on the rating part of the tables. In the first table, you're going to see how much did you like math each year. That's the question. So you're going to give it a rating from 1 to 10. In the second table, it says, how much math did you learn each year? So one of them is, do you like? One of them is, How much did you learn? You're then going to plot those points on this graph. Let me give you one quick example. Let's say in kindergarten, I liked math a lot. So I'm going to give it a pretty high rating. I'm going to give it like a 9. Okay? On my chart over here, I'm going to say kindergarten and head all the way up to 9 and plot my point right there. Make sense? So you're going to do that. The directions for the graph say, graph the information from your tables. Be sure to include labels so that it is clear which line shows like and which shows learning. That's going to be up to you to decide what you prefer to do for your labels and drawing a clear distinction between the data you're showing for liking and the data you're showing for learning. The next section asks you to, and let me erase this 9 out of the way, asks you to use an X and place it on each number line to show your answer to each question. The first number line is asking you, how do you feel about learning math this year? Are you in a blind panic? Would be a 0. Are you in the middle? You could take it or leave it. Or are you totally happy about learning math this year? That would be a 10, very high rating. So place an X on that number line. Then moving over here, it says, how do you feel about learning in teams? We will be working in teams quite often. So it is asking you, are you in a blind panic? Take it or leave it, totally happy, or somewhere in between those two. Take some time to place those X's now. When you are done placing those X's, you're going to move into the final section, the part 2 of your total mathography. This is for parents or grandparents or whatever adult that you live with. This is going to require a little bit of written response from them if possible. The question is asking you to, it's saying, please write a note to your student's math teacher about your student's best academic qualities and strengths. If you would like, also include non-academic qualities and strengths as well. So take some time to answer that. Again, for the student, this is asking you now about your academic strengths. So it says, for the student, please think about your academic strengths as you complete the following tasks. Use an X and place it on each number line to show your answer to each question. The first question is, how much of the math in this course do you expect yourself to learn this year? A 0 would be bare minimum. You're learning absolutely nothing. A 5 would be some of it, and a 10 would be, I'm going to learn all of this math. And then there's also stuff in between. The second question for you to give your rating for is, how many homework assignments do you hope to complete this year? If you hope to complete barely any, you're going to say 0, bare minimum. If you hope to complete all of them, you're going to say 10. So give yourself a rating at this time. The last section for the student is asking you to make 3 lists, okay? 3 lists of what you will do to meet your learning goals this year, okay? So, first one is saying, in class, I will. What are things that you plan to do in class to meet those learning goals? In specifically math class. The next one is at school, okay? At school, I plan to do what? And then at home, what will you do? These are some things that you're going to need to think about as you continue to grow as a middle schooler. So take some time to think about what you're going to do in class, what you're going to do at school, and what you're going to do at home. Make that list now. After you complete this, you will be completed with the very first math assignment for lesson 1.1.1.